Hi, my name is Chet here from Avion Technology in the Chicagoland area. We are a digital agency based out of Chicago. We work in three silos. We work as a white label programming partner for other digital agencies. We also do product development for entrepreneurs, helping them go to market. And the third is we work with small businesses for digital marketing. So what I'm going to talk today actually concerns the third. It's actually regarding small businesses and digital marketing. It actually has to do with an aspect of digital marketing called reputation management. So many years back, actually, I had a client, and client actually was an interesting story. The client had suddenly woken up one day and found a lot of negative online reviews about his business, and he was extremely worried because this person, and this was, I'm talking about 10 years back, when SEO and SMM and digital marketing was not as advanced as it is today. And this client actually got terrified because he was like, I'm doomed. What am I going to do now? Blah blah blah. So we did a little bit of a forensic, and we actually found out that it was a disgruntled customer of his, and that customer was actually very atypical because most of his customers were usually very satisfied and very happy. But this was one customer of his who had, maybe on one night when he probably had too much alcohol or something like that, had gone online and typed a lot of negative reviews. And then we did a little bit of forensic again, and we found out that the customer actually had the habit of doing that. So on his Google profile, almost he had done this to a lot of other businesses where he had kind of held them hostage for a bad review. But we did tell this client to go and make peace with the customer. It was for a small amount. I think it was like $100-$200 or something like that, and he just wrote him a check, and all was fine after that, right? And then the client came back after that, and he said, "What should I do?" And I said, "Do you have a social media strategy?" And he said, "I don't." And that's when I told him, so we've all heard the maxim, right, that nature does not like a vacuum, right? Wherever there is a vacuum, nature will put something in that vacuum to fill it up. Now, I also know an introvert friend of mine, and I had not met him for a long time. And he had actually also been out of the social circuit for a long time, right? He was an introvert. He liked to read, and he was, he did not like to party. He liked to read, and he liked to maybe have his cup of coffee and whatever, work out. But he was not an extrovert. And so everything that I kept on hearing about this person was so negative. And this was not the experience that I had about this person in real life. In real life, I knew this guy to be extremely intelligent. He was a very good writer. He was very hardworking. He was very, a very nice person overall. And then on the other side, everything that I heard about this person from everyone else was so negative, that at a point I started believing all these negative things that I heard about this person, right? And so when I met him after about 10-15 years maybe, I was actually a little scared because of all these things that I had heard about this person. Till I actually interacted with this person for an hour or two, and I realized that he was still the same old guy. He was absolutely humorous. He had a great persona. He had great charm. He was very witty. He's very intelligent, very well read, all these great things. And that's when I realized, there's a law called Gobel's law. As we all know, Joseph Goebbels was the information minister under Hitler, and he had come up with this law called Gobel's law. And what Gobel's law states is that if you repeat a lie 10 times, the 11th time the person hearing it will think of it as the truth, right? So let's say if you have a employee called John. John's probably the nicest guy in the world. But if I keep on hammering in your head that John is a thief, John is a thief, John is a thief, the 11th time when I say it, your mind actually starts thinking that that's the truth. And it's the same thing for reputation management, right? When I was being told that this person is like the worst person in this world by everyone, I kind of started thinking of that as the truth, though in reality that was not the case, right? So like I said, nature does not like a vacuum. So when your social circle, when the market, it does not have any idea about who this person is, the market puts in data about that person, about that brand, about that product, about that service on its own, and creates an image about that person or that brand or whatever. Which is why we see so many celebrities on social media. It's because what they're doing is called image projection, right? Celebrities are, whatever little celebrities that I have met in my life are actually very, very, very different from the image that they project about themselves in social media. They're very different. The flamboyant hero who has, 5 girls here and 5 girls there and he's partying, he's actually might be a very hardworking person who is, a family man, and he has no vices, and he probably is in bed at 8 o'clock. But he projects a certain image about himself on social media, and the reason being that it's that image which fills that void about him, right, in the market. It's putting out information about himself, because if he doesn't do that, everyone else will put in information that they want, and that information, that image, that could be negative, right? So the first thing you have to do as a small business is you have to have a social media strategy. You have to be putting out a few tweets, you have to be on Instagram, you have to be on YouTube, you have to be on LinkedIn, you have to be on Facebook, not TikTok. I mean, I'm not a big fan of TikTok, but you have to be on all these channels, making even little efforts. Because if you don't do that, your competitors are going to put information about you out there, and that information might not be positive. So that's number one. Do not ignore social media. The second thing is customer reviews, right? Your customers will always be your best brand ambassadors. In fact, I personally believe that your customers will be your best salespeople, right? Because if someone has a good experience with you, he's going to go out and tell his connections, his circle of influence about you, and that's going to lead to repeat business. That's going to lead to references, right? And I have seen personally, as someone who has been in sales now for about 17 years, that my closure rate is the highest when I get a lead through a reference, because I don't have to sell myself to that person. I just need to converse about the project. I just need to converse about the product. I don't need to sell, because the selling has already been done by someone else. I'm just talking at that point, because the person is already closed. So your customer reviews, right? Go back to your happiest customers, ask them to go on Google reviews and give your product a review. Ask them to go on Yelp and give your product or service a review, because that's worth its weight in gold. The third thing is employee reviews. Again, this is something that's 50-50. The percentage of happy employees is always, single digits. 90% of the time employees are, not happy. So I would discount this, but it's definitely a great place. Employee reviews are a great place to get a few trends, a few patterns, right? Because employees talk, and usually they talk about a few things in common. And if you can identify what those things are in common that they're talking about, it could be, maybe you don't pay on time, or it could be, maybe, you're not giving them the kind of perks that your competitors are giving, or, maybe your workouts suck, or something like that. So see what is the chatter, see what's trending in your employee reviews, because it's definitely something that you can address, right? So this is my short spiel on brand management. We definitely live in very different times, right? About 100 years back, or even maybe 50 years back, right? There was a lot of professions. I know doctors were one of those, lawyers were one of those, CPAs were one of those, where advertising about yourself was considered blasphemy, right? If you were a good lawyer, if you were a good doctor, if you were a good CPA, you did not advertise about yourself, right? It was a gentleman's code of conduct that you did not advertise about yourself. Now in the 21st century, a lot of it is about salesmanship. A lot of it is about image projection. And if you are not, then your competitors are going to drown you out, right? Because if you are not creating awareness about your brand, then someone else who is creating awareness about their brand is going to overshadow your brand, right? I see it a lot in the hotel industry where people will go and write negative comments about their competitor's restaurant or competitor's hotel. They'll pay online bloggers or online reviewers to go to a certain restaurant or write negative comments about a certain restaurant who is their competition. And if you're not fighting back, if you don't have a strategy of your own, then good luck to you. So definitely give reputation management a thought. Also do remember that if you have been kind of struck by a barrage of bad reviews, or if you have a vengeful customer who's going crazy, or a vengeful employee who's now going crazy, you cannot create reputations in 3 months, right? So it has to be a long-term strategy. It has to be 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, right? So definitely take a long-term focus. But the good part is that no one can hurt your image in 3 months, right? So going back to my friend, when I did meet him after 10 years, right? Turned out that he had become an extremely successful person. And he was very happy. He was in a very good position in his life. And everyone who was spreading bad things about him were essentially jealous of him, right? But he was so busy that he really did not have the time to reply back to his haters, right? So I told him, why don't you do this? Why don't you just start going on Facebook? And so he did that, and it helped him. So reputation management is a necessity in the 21st century, whether you're a business or a person, and you don't need to have a multi-million-dollar PR agency do it for you. You can do it for yourself, but just carve out a couple of hours in a week, and just keep on doing it consistently, and you'll see very good results. So I hope you like this little lecture. If you'd like to know more about this on reputation management, these are our contact details. Give us a shout, and we'd be more than happy to help you out. Thank you so much. This is Chet here from Avion Technology, and wishing you a very, very happy Diwali and a very happy, prosperous New Year.